Honored guests and colleagues here present, it is a high honor for me to be able to represent my country at this prestigious conference and a privilege to be able to address you today. The theme of this year's course, Policing the 21st Century, is of particular interest to me. I have devoted nearly half of my life to the future of policing as a subject of study and research. This avocation has brought me many rewards, such as this one, the chance to take part in this course. But there have been some negative aspects as well. The reason is that much of what I have to say is not always well received by those who have a vested interest in perpetuating the status quo. Thus, do those steeped in the glory of what has passed regard me as a pariah. Therefore, I stand before you with some trepidation, leery that someone may be lurking in the shadows. I suspect formidable adversaries are poised and prepared to cast their spear of doubt into my heel. I offer evidence to support my caution. You have heard the adage that it is easier to kill the messenger than to heed the message. When I began speaking about the future of policing, castigating the status quo, I was threatened. Yet I persevere. I am cautiously optimistic. However, I approach my topic with a great deal of doubt and fear. I doubt not the outcome, but rather the means. I fear that in America the police will soon change under the most trying of circumstances and through the worst possible means, by default rather than by design. Social forces at work today around the world will inextricably alter policing in the United States at the turn of the century. I share some of the reasons for my concern with you so that you might reflect upon social conditions in your own country that could have like consequences for your nation's police forces. Change is taking place rapidly. The police, like society, have two possible courses of action given our turbulent environment. The first is to cling to the status quo. The alternative is to become facilitators of social change. For the police in America, this means not only protecting civil rights, but ensuring that all lawful means of petitioning of the government concerning grievances are protected. This will help to secure the ideals of democracy seen by Thomas Jefferson and America's other founding fathers, and ease an orderly transition into what has elsewhere been referred to as a third wave society. In the past, the role of the police has been to maintain the status quo, but reliance on the status quo will not prepare the police for the future. The police should consider how destructive and long-lasting civil unrest and social unrest can be. In the United States and in many of the nations that are here, turmoil has recently erupted into civil disobedience. Such incidents force the police into the role of antagonists rather than permitting them to be protagonists. In the past quarter century, policing has made important strides, but there is much yet to be done. Does anyone here seriously doubt that? Some of the old wounds have not healed and some new ones have been opened. The decade of the 1990s will be a critical period for the police. Police executives must not at this critical juncture become complacent and allow themselves to be content with past achievements. Like the person paddling a canoe against a heavy current, if the canoeist stops paddling, whatever progress has been made will be quickly lost. If the police stop to congratulate themselves for progress made thus far, policing too will begin to drift backwards. If there is any hope of creating chances for relieving social pressures, the police must be viewed by the public as integral to the neighborhood. They must be seen as members of the community, not as an army occupation. Around the world, even as some countries seem to understand and are beginning to shrug off the shackles of the past, others fail to realize that the current is drawing them backward away from social reform. I believe that the means for bringing about a positive image for the police is through integration with the social network. This can best be understood by reflecting on the nature of changes in society. About 8000 BC, the agricultural revolution was set into motion. It swept aside 45,000 years of cave dwelling. During the Neolithic age, mankind shifted from a nomadic existence to settling on the land. Beginning in 1760, men started moving from the fields to the foundries. With the exception of so-called third world countries, the Industrial Revolution provided the economic base for second wave society. The third wave, the technological revolution, began about 1955. In the United States, this was the year that marked the first time the number of blue-collar workers was exceeded by the number of white-collar workers. In just over 3 decades, we have witnessed a parade of the marvels of high-tech march into our homes. The driving force for this shift is information. The economic base for third-wave societies is the quest for knowledge. The computer, ushered in just over a decade ago, has turned the world inside out. High-tech brings with it promise, but the consequence of the advent of new technology is social change. The full extent of the impact of the technology on society is yet to be fathomed. One indicator, however, is that we are witnessing the world being changed into a global village. As recently as half a century ago, it took weeks to cross the Atlantic by means of the most powerful force then known to mankind, the steam engine. Until we begin to choose our future rather than letting it overwhelm us, we shall be forced to live in a society that is choking us with too much law in the wrong place at the wrong time for the wrong purposes, while depriving us of the essential ingredients of civilized life. Perhaps we should reconsider what has been discarded. For 45,000 years, mankind huddled in the darkness of caves, afraid to take that first step into the light of day. Leaders, it is important to remember, are out in front, paving the way for others to follow. They do not wait for someone else to set the pace. Bold leadership is essential today.